things I ever saw. Because I mean that film really blew me away. And then he turned around and reinvented himself with Scream. And I mean, his career had a lot of ups and downs, like all of us do. But I mean, he'd had a very bad run prior to Scream. You know, so I mean, but he didn't stop working. But every one of those is visually and tonally different. I mean, he's not doing the same thing.
But they're all great storytelling. You know, it's not necessarily masturbating with a camera like a lot of young cinema is, but he was a storyteller who used the tools of cinema in the most precise and concise way to put it across, and yet go deep inside using surrealism to supplant the
Well,
realism.
it goes from document reality, the Last House, to surrealism with, with Nightmare. But what I could never put together was, and to his son, he was one of the nicest men I ever met. I mean, he was really kind, sweet, professorial, but just a lovely guy.
But don't you find that to be the case with a lot of the genre people? Because, you know, a lot of us do tend to live in a creative gutter as far as the rest of the city is concerned, or the business. You know, we are the gutter snipes. And I also think that the fans, as well as the creators, were not the people who were popular in high school and were homecoming king or queen, but were the outcasts and felt like the outsider. Wouldn't you say that's something that brought us together, Chuck?
Yeah, there's as you said, there's a real sense of family and a real lack of competition, which would surprise, I think, a lot of people in Hollywood over the filmmakers, and I think that even extends to the fans. As Joe said, we know there's a lot of filmmakers in the house tonight too, so we can kind of share all that. But there's something unique about the genre. There's something unique about daring to face your nightmares, and especially about daring to make these movies as Wes did. It's bold, and as Ty said, you have no rules. You get to film what you want to. You film what's in your heart. And with wonderful people like Robert Englund to work with, by the way, who is a brave, brilliant actor, you can take it to the limit. We really got a great opportunity to work with him.
It's also worth noticing,
Well, I was going to bring you into this. There's something about being psychically naked and making really deep genre horror films, because you're talking about shared Freudian id stuff rather than the external high school type thing. And Ty, your work seems to be very much in line with that.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, it's weird because your own work, you can't. It's like hearing your voice on tape. Like you just don't. It just all sounds stupid, and you're like, I don't know. One thing I think Chuck, what you were saying is that it is worth noting that, like, and this is a credit to Robert Englund, but like, not so much Robert Englund, but Freddy Krueger became a giant celebrity, and that's not a real person. So it's like, when Jack Sparrow becomes a celebrity, it's still Johnny Depp. You know, it's still like, it was like in tandem. Like, Freddy Krueger was like a rock star, and that's not real. He's just, they made him up for the movie. And that's like so rare that happens. I don't even know how you would do that. Like, it's a really amazing thing that caught on. And he was he was on TV, like, in commercials and stuff. And like, stuff and things. Yeah.
He was doing headbangers ball and stuff.
Yeah, it was wild. Like, it's not a real person like that. And so, I mean, just think of how rare that is. Think of how rare there's a movie where the character from the movie, not so much the actor, but the character, is now like part of pop culture on such a massive scale. I'm still wearing a t-shirt, like half this place is wearing t-shirts with Freddy Krueger. I've seen so many Freddy Krueger toys around here. Like, he's not the actor, that's the character. That's an amazing achievement. But you know, as far as the surrealism and sort of all that, I don't know. I think that's what makes the films original, and that's what makes them feel different. And what you were saying about the stuff that, like the gutter and things like that. Certainly now horror is really popular, so it feels a little bit less like the gutter than it used to. But I think probably when, everyone looks a similar age-ish in here, most of us came up when horror was like one step above porn. Now horror is like a really great way to make like a lot of money and be like really like commercially successful. But for a long time, all of our favorite stuff was this Last House in particular. As you were saying, was like, he was in trouble for making that movie. And that's kind of like punk rock and exciting, and that's sort of like artistically challenging. That's the stuff. That's why I go to the movies, is to see stuff that like, it's like it's something to talk about, something to feel about. It's not just like a corporate thing. And I think that his movies are really great. Like you were saying, Tom, that every movie's different. which is like, that means he was challenging himself as an artist, which a lot of people, once they have success, don't do that, because it's a lot harder to do that. And that speaks a lot to him as a filmmaker, and I didn't know him personally, really. I met him once, and he was very nice. But just as a filmmaker and an artist, to know that he was constantly trying to reinvent himself. There's a lot easier ways to do this. This is a really sort of, at many times, traumatic and unpleasant industry, and to basically throw away the thing that's, you could ride the wave on and go, nah, I'm gonna do something different, is very ballsy, and that's like, I have a tremendous amount of respect for that.
Well, I think the bravery of his work is one of the hallmarks of it, because it, you know, it was very unfiltered, particularly starting off with Last House on Glen. Anyway, we're gonna watch Nightmare. Grant, how are we time-wise? Couple minutes, okay. Well.
So when I was 16, I first got my license, and so the first thing I did when I got my license was go see a movie. And it was like, it's kind of, and then it's the first time I drove at night, which by the way, when you first got your license driving through the day, you're like, yeah, it's the first time you drive alone at night, and I'm from like the middle of nowhere, so you'd be driving on these like roads, and you're like, oh shit, what have I done? But so the first thing I did was go to this like really crappy movie theater to see this movie Scream, that I didn't know anything about. I knew it was Wes Craven, I wasn't like a die-hard, like I wasn't like literate on directors at that point, but I did know that it was the guy who made Nightmare on Elm Street. And that movie hit in such a weird zeitgeist thing where like horror was really unpopular before that. So when I was like 14 or 15, there weren't really that many, like I was still watching horror movies that I watched when I was 7 years old because those were still so much better, or really the only ones that existed, because in the early 90s, it was like pretty grim on what was there for horror. And so we went to go see this movie Scream, didn't know anything about it, and it was like so awesome. Like it was like I was 16, I drove myself and my friend Matt Irwin, and we went and we watched this movie, and it like blew our minds. And it's this very sort of like 90s kind of like postmodern thing, which I didn't understand that at the time. But like I just was like, whoa, this is like all the movies that I like, and where have these movies been? And it's sort of funny also. And then I remember going and seeing it 3 times in the movie theater, and it was just such a weird, like, you know that feeling when you first get your license where it's like the freedom thing, and then you don't really know what to do with it. And I went to see the movies, and then the first movie I saw was like so exciting and inspiring. So I always really remember that as like one of those hallmarks that you know where you were when you saw a movie. Well, when I saw Scream, I was the day I got my license, and it was really like that was another one of the profound experiences that I had where it's like I'll always remember that.
Well, I think, you know, we're all here because we're paying homage to somebody who was a great man and a great filmmaker, and somebody who had an original vision, which is incredibly difficult to do, and to sustain it over a 40-year career is just remarkable. And look, every seat is taken in this place, and it's a tribute to Wes, and we're all here because we love him and his work, and we're just really honored to be a part of this. So thank you so much. We'll be talking in front of English.
Thank you, Masters of Horror, for coming out, and we are absolutely honored to have Jonathan Craven here tonight. Thank you, guys.